Hey guys, Didact here, and after playing for nearly 90 minutes, I think it's time for a well-informing guide to 60 seconds. Now before playing the actual game, I recommend that you do Atomic Drill, which will go through a general tutorial of all different parts of completing this game. You can play Scavenge to get better at scavenging, you can play Survival, which will give you random items once you're in the Fallout shelter, or you can play Apocalypse, which will group both together for the full 60 seconds experience. There are 3 difficulties in this game, but they only affect how much time you have to plan out your scavenge before it starts, and the chances of you scavenging things out in the waste when you send people out to gather supplies. Depending on the difficulty you choose, you have from 25 to 0 seconds to look around your house, which, by the way, the items move every time you do a scavenge or you start the game over. So you have 25 to 0 seconds to figure out where things are and to plan trips from into your shelter. Now you have 4 slots at the bottom for carrying things, which means 4 items, but some things way more than just 1 item, some up to 3. So I'm going to make a list of things that are the most important, depending on really what you want. You can take this into consideration or you can not. Now, for the sake of argument, I'm just going to assume that you're going to take your whole family and not be a scumbag and leave them to die in your house as the nukes fall. Although I have been experimenting, and really, if you leave everyone up here, you can gather many more supplies, and also you can survive much longer simply by yourself, but you will lose all sense of humanity. Now, the most important thing to get, obviously, is soup and water, because it doesn't matter if you're going to get rescued in a week. If you don't have food and water now, you're going to die. Okay, you have food and water. Pretty good. Now, the next thing you want to get, which is the most important item besides surviving, is a radio, because this will allow you to get in contact with the military and to hopefully get rescued. Next, in my opinion, is the gas mask. This allows anyone to go out, not to come back sick, and basically infect the rest of your shelter. This is important because you don't have that many medical supplies, and it'd be very difficult to cure everybody with only 1 medical supply container. Now again, this is just my opinion. I've played this game about 3 times, full campaign, if that's what you want to call it. So this is just my opinion, what I think are most important, and what I needed the most. Now I base a lot of these things on how many times I use them in the vault and how useful they are. So that's why my next one might be a little confusing, but I would recommend getting the Boy Scout Survival Guide, because in my 3 playthroughs I use that a lot for many different things. Now the next one can be either of 2, either the rifle on the wall or the fire axe, because you can use that to kill roaches and rats in your shelter, as well as to fend off raiders when they come to your door. Next would have to be the map. Now this isn't much use underground, but when you send somebody up, they use the map even though it's still in the vault, and that gives them a much better chance of surviving in the wastelands and coming back with food and supplies. Now, other things that you could get but you don't necessarily need, even though it seems counterintuitive, something like the med kit really isn't that useful, only because you only get to use it once, and a lot of the times, especially when people get sick, everyone gets sick, and you can only choose one of the people to get better using the med kit. So it's kind of a one-time use only thing, and it's not that useful getting. Now, other things in the house, such as checkers, cards, and even a poisonous gas can, you really don't have time to get, because they're not very useful whatsoever. Sometimes a trader will come and you can trade things, but it's really not useful getting, and you can't rely on traders coming to waste time getting checkers when you could have gotten a gas mask or something. So really, you shouldn't bother getting those at all. You know, if you're running back to the vault, you have like 2 seconds left and it's right there, pick it up. But otherwise, don't bother getting those items. They're kind of useless in every way. Now, like I said, you should go into Scavenge Mode, which basically, this is the only thing you do. All you do is do the Scavenge Mode, and I would practice a lot, because I've played Scavenge a bunch and I've gotten much better, and when you do a scavenge in a full apocalypse mode, the scavenge is the make it or break it stage. If you fuck up your scavenge, you will not make it in your shelter. So you have to get really good with this. I quit out a bunch of times on my playthroughs because I fucked up the scavenge. Like I said, it's the make it or break it. If you don't do a good job scavenging, then you're not going to survive in your vault. It's as simple as that. Congratulations, you've gathered enough supplies in 60 seconds to survive the apocalypse in your vault or shelter, whatever. Now I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to surviving in your shelter and not get killed by giant mutant roaches.
Your happy, happy time.
Stay tuned for my tips when you're actually in the shelter, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys could give me a like or maybe even subscribe. I worked really hard on this tip guide. Stay tuned for the shelter part, and thanks for watching.